Being a grown man, there aren't many things that I'm really scared of, or at least not many I'd admit to in public. But a couple of things that do scare me, and Widdicombe. Ugh, that chest. Then there's flying. You see what I mean? It's not natural. Then there's Aston Martin's new Vanquish. Very scary. Now that last one might sound a little bit odd, but let me explain. 6 litres, V12, 460 brake horsepower and 160,000 pounds. Enough to fill anybody with dread. This is Aston Martin's new flagship, the Vanquish. And it's mean, it's rudely powerful, it's disgustingly expensive, and it's scary. I feel like it's looking at me, just daring me to come and have a go if I think I'm hard enough. Which I don't. But if I was though, I would have 6 litres of V12 power to play with, delivering tarmac peeling performance, 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds, and so on if you're brave enough to 190 miles per hour. Certainly figures to get the bravest of motorists cowering behind their beaded seat cushions. Now the name Vanquish means to gain mastery of, to reduce to submission, to overcome in battle. All of which I'd have to do with my bank manager if I'm going to get my hands on one, because cars like this, they're not for mere mortals like me. In fact, knock 100 grand off that price and I still think that's a little too much to pay for a motor car. But if you have got 160 grand for this car, what do you get for your money? Well, the more you look at it, for a frightening supercar, it actually seems like cracking value for money. You see, for starters, there are the body panels. There are no mass-produced, computer-fitted panels here. Each one of these aluminium panels on the Vanquish has been hand-finished. That's finished by hand. There's a craftsman in a brown overall slid his hand over every single part of it and said, a tweak here, a tweak there. That's value for money. Then there are the wheels, 19 inches of forged aluminium shod in high-performance rubber. They might be 5 grand a set, the price of an average bathroom suite, but hey, they're a work of art. Speaking of works of art, next time you're thinking of popping down to the auction and spending £1 million in a Van Gogh, forget it. Get yourself a Vanquish, get yourself a picture frame, and voila, a work of art. Now, whilst we're furnishing the home, thinking of getting yourself a hi-fi, don't bother, because with this, you get all the sounds you'll ever need. Listen to this. I call this track 1. It's called idling. Track 2. Mid-range, I like that. This is my favourite. That's called full out. Well, listen, I think that's it. Thanks very much for joining us on our review of the Vanquish on Dream Deals. We'll see you next time. Yeah, no, it went all right. Everyone happy, yeah?
I reckon, yeah,
got
it's good.
Got it covered. Sorry, excuse me. Hello? No, we've got it nailed. The guys are happy. Yeah? What, even with my reputation? Right, yeah, no, you're the boss. Right, lads, that's not a wrap. I've got to drive it. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Wish me luck. The temptation is that as you reach high revs, to ease off the gas a little bit to help it change gear as if it was an automatic. But in this, you really don't need to do that. Keep your foot right down and do the paddle shift, and the gearbox will find the gear for you straight away. The other temptation is that because you've got this paddle shift, you start thinking you're in an F1 car, and going into a corner you think, right, I'll change down a couple of gears. But if you get the wrong one, because you haven't got the engine speed to gauge, well, Well, if you're in the wrong gear, the back end will start twitching, and before you know it, you're pirouetting like a Russian ballerina and you're off ski. The driver aids are many and complex and a little slow to react, which is actually quite a bit of fun. Turn the traction control off and you'll have a whole lot more fun. I've got the car's back end out a couple of times, and there is a split second with the traction control on until it starts to correct or control the power. And it is very easy to put right. One slight steering correction and the car is behaving itself like a Tory MP with an orange in its mouth. Rear visibility is not good. The brake light that's in the rear window obscures quite a lot. And as for the back view of its Lin stereo woofers, tweeters, amps and God knows what, well, that's the stereo. I'm not sure if all that's needed, because if you put your foot down and listen to the symphonic growl that is the engine, who needs music? The one major problem for me with this Vanquish is the price. I know we've gone on about it quite a lot, but 160 grand. I did some fantasy car playing at home, and I thought for £160,000 I could probably have a Ferrari 360, a BMW X5, and probably some kind of Evo thrown in. And with that, you've got all bases covered and probably a little bit of money left over to pay for all the insurance you'd need. And that's the problem. You could have all of those cars, or you could have this one supercar. The Vanquish is a great example of facing down your fears and finding them not that scary. But you're still going to need proverbials made of brass to drive a car worth 160 grand anywhere near its limits. As for any reference to a certain Secret Service agent, well, I've got a licence to drive. I still smell of this morning's baby sick. And as for a Bond girl, well, I'm off home to sleep with Hallie. Halitosis.